Killed in a shed fire tragedy.
An Australian facing the death penalty, arrested on drugs charges in Bali.
A shock twist in the Optus hacking scandal as the
Chaos, the cow who stole a Geelong Stars premiership medal.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Rebecca Madden and Mike Amor.
Good evening. It's been 24 hours of premiership pandemonium in Geelong as players and fans lap up grand final glory.
Thousands pack Cardinia Park to party with their hit.
Jeremy Cameron.
For this footy-mad town, today it was like nothing else mattered. Sunglasses this morning, a giveaway of what happened last night.
You know, it was into the early hours of the morning, but today will be special because the families are all here and it's a bit more intimate.
The biggest cheer saved for CG turf by his adoring premiership mates.
I had a special moment with Joe and Jezza, so I'm very grateful for that too, so yeah, I'm very proud.
He's a close friend, he's been really good for our group. Yeah, as you can see, he's just one of us.
There'll be tales of premiership parties, but few will compare to Jeremy Cameron's.
We've done something very silly here.
Donating his premiership medal to one of his cows. It seemed a good idea at 5 a.m.
Can I have my medal back?
The one thing I've learned overnight is not to give your medal to a cow at 5 a.m.
Ty, what are we going to do? We're going to grab it or like? Are we? No, don't scare him. Let him have it for the night. Let him have it for the night. Go on. Go on. Get out there.
Easy to put on the cow, hard to get back. But no cows were harmed in the process.
They wanted this party at their home ground, but GMHBA Stadium has been taken over for the upcoming T20 Cricket World Cup. It mattered little. Fans filling the ground next door. A premiership selfie top of the list for these young fans.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball.
On the ball and on the money. A flag is worth millions in merchandise and memberships.
We hit 72,000 members in 2022. We're looking to try and hit 100,000 members into the future.
At the team store truck,
so that's just $42.30.
money is being printed in blue and white.
Crazy hectic. It hasn't.
Renamed Premiership Way. They might have to do one for Joel Selwood too.
He deserves one, doesn't he?
And Blake Johnson is in Geelong for us tonight. Blake, hello. Celebrations are set to continue Tuesday.
Oh, Beck, this is an endurance test, not just for the players, but for the fans as well. And let it be known that I'm wearing this scarf more for my in Geelong. We're at Billy Brownless's pub, one of so many right around Geelong, so full still of Cats fans 24 hours after their massive win over the Swans. For the players, they have their official end-of-season function tomorrow morning at 11 a.m, so it doesn't end for them. And then on Tuesday, the parade through the streets of Geelong, perhaps a more formal celebration to end what has been a remarkable season for the Cats. The Premiership doesn't come around all that often. This club and its fans are making the most of every minute.
Thank you so much, Blake Johnson.
Police had their work cut out last night as wild scenes erupted on the streets of Geelong. The players arrived home well after the final siren and were met with a rock star reception.
Swamping the streets after smashing the Swans. Hundreds joined the celebration in the heart of Geelong with fireworks on Ryrie Street. Fans hanging from cars, scaling traffic lights to down a beer, and climbing on shop awnings. Police helping this man down to safety. The mounted branch trying to keep the crowd off roads and keeping watch without ruining the party. Six taken to hospital in a serious condition with a head injury. His attacker hasn't been arrested. For most, though, it was pure jubilation, with dancing in the streets for the young and the young at heart. The spontaneous crowd dance slow and fast.
Years. Well done, ecstasy. This is
this year was I got stuck in the lift for 15 minutes at the hotel this morning and I said he was an hour away.
Before he and his teammates left Melbourne last night, an appearance at Yarra Park would front and centre for the fans. Arriving back in July, high on someone's shoulders. 19 were evicted. 3 of them were also of a security guard's desperation.
Peace.
Roland Sukong was found unconscious inside this shed after his father, who doesn't speak English, paid tribute remembering his youngest son as an energetic, bubbly boy.
He made the family very happy, and although he couldn't speak yet, just from his behaviour.
Preparing a family barbecue when the unthinkable happened. He went inside, leaving the 3-year-old unattended. Today, the community rallied around the family as they reflect on precious memories.
He loves to love cartoon videos, but one specific trait that he likes is he loves watching birthday cake cutting videos.
Roland was also the youngest of 4 siblings.
He loves them a lot.
Neighbours say they heard several loud bangs and yelling before paramedics arrived. What led to the little boy's death is still being probed by local detectives, but it's not being treated as suspicious. Cassie Zervos, 7 News.
An Australian man could face the firing squad after allegedly being caught with heroin at a Bali airport. His lawyer says the drugs were for personal use and is now fighting for his freedom.
Jeff Welton's day job in Bali is teaching people to dive. Now it's alleged the Perth man has hit rock bottom, swapping his wetsuit for an orange prison jumpsuit. Indonesian police say Welton was stopped in Denpasar Airport 2 weeks ago after arriving on a flight from Vietnam. He was searched and authorities claim they found 8 grams of heroin and a small amount of methamphetamine, the drugs concealed in a condom.
He bring the heroin come in Bali because he said that he bring the medicine that he need.
Jeff Welton is behind bars at Bali's National Narcotics Agency, shivering through withdrawals.
A heavy drug addict, yeah.
Under Bali's strict drug laws, smuggling more than 5 grams of heroin is punishable by life in prison, even death. Mr. Welton is accused of being in possession of a little over 8 grams. His future now relies on his past. Mr. Welton's lawyers say he never planned to sell the drugs, only use them for himself to feed a 15-year-long drug addiction.
Then the doctor check him every time and give the medicine, substitution medicine for his withdrawal.
Pleading for rehabilitation over incarceration. Monique Dirks, 7 News.
Violent criminals are having their sentences slashed because of backlogs in Victorian courts. News Limited has reported a rapist who attacked a teenage girl is among those receiving reduced sentences for admitting to the crime. It follows a landmark Court of Appeal decision requiring judges to increase sentencing discounts for early guilty pleas to clear COVID lockdown backlogs. Court sources believe it could take years for the delays to resolve.
The Optus hack attack has escalated with demands for a $1.5 million ransom to be paid within a week. Cyber experts say the threat involving personal details of 11 million customers appears legitimate.
The extortion note was uncovered by cybersecurity journalist Jeremy Kirk.
Yeah, there's a pretty popular data breach forum where cybercriminals trade and sell data.
It was published there Friday under the pseudonym Optus Data. 11.2 million users, it says. Data included email, date of birth, first, last name, mobile number, identification numbers, such as driving licence. And for 10 million Optus customers, email, full name, date of birth, gender, mobile number, address. Optus, if you are reading, price for us to not sale data is $1 million. We give you 1 week to decide.
It can be used for a variety of scams, and the effects could last years. You know, it could affect their credit records for years if people try to take out loans in their name.
The purported hackers also provide 200 individual identity details to prove they are authentic. Current and former Optus customers named in those samples have confirmed their published details are accurate.
There was a woman working in her front yard, and I had printed out her data and said, explained to her what was going on, and then said, "Is this your data?" And she said, "Yes, that's my data."
Online, the hackers claim no authentication was even needed, that the information was simply there, ready to be harvested. It didn't take a master thief to break into a fortress. All it took was somebody looking for a door and then discovering it was wide open.
They were able to pull that data out without like a login or password.
The breach of trust with customers is catastrophic for Optus. Hackers are demanding the telco pay in cryptocurrency or they start selling on the dark web. From federal police, it is an offence to buy stolen credentials. Those who do face a penalty of up to 10 years imprisonment. Investigators have clues to work with. The extortion note is riddled with grammatical errors, says sale instead of sell, a possibility English is not their first language. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Residents across large parts of New South Wales are being warned to expect flooding to worsen in coming days. Authorities are predicting more heavy rainfall across the central west, which will prevent rivers already at capacity from receding. The small town of Tullamore is mourning the death of a 5-year-old boy swept away in floodwaters yesterday.
Cost of living relief will be high on the agenda when Parliament resumes tomorrow. Federal politics pause for 2 weeks to honour the Queen's death, with time running out before the cut to the fuel excise ends.
Who says sport and politics shouldn't mix?
This one, the Prime Ministers take their seat, the players are ready to go.
Anthony Albanese and James Marape in Brisbane, leading out the Australian and PNG Prime Ministers' 13 sides at Suncorp Stadium.
The North Koreans, the Iranians.
In London, Ashley Mullany, 7 News.
We've been given a first look at the new Legistone marking storm batters Canada.
And we take a ride in Melbourne's very own Batmobile.
A construction crash along a busy shopping strip in Noble Park has left small business owners at breaking point. They are pleading for action from the local government as costly roadworks drive customers away.
Once a bustling shopping strip in Noble Park now looks like this. The footpath ripped up, most of the car parks blocked off, confused customers met by roadblocks.
I lost a lot of money, a lot of customers, you know what I mean? Hard to survive.
It's a triple whammy for fed-up small business owners. They just survived the level crossing removal project and the pandemic. This latest blow costing them thousands in revenue after sales dropped by around 70%.
I didn't buy my rent last month, and this month is very hard for me to buy my rent.
All the customers call up, they say like, oh, this shop maybe is closed.
Food delivery drivers are also struggling to access the street, cancelling orders at the last minute, forcing staff to throw the meals away. The works are part of a $1 million makeover of Ian Street, funded by the state government and local council. Businesses were told construction would wrap up within 6 weeks, but it's blown out to late October.
It's been really hard for us.
Greater Dandenong Council says they are actively managing the disruption to ensure the shops remain accessible, promising to deliver a unique shopping experience with more trees and improved pedestrian safety. Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
There are calls for older Australians to get more support as they take on bigger caring roles for their grandchildren. Many do it out of love, but seniors advocates say they're not being properly acknowledged.
Taking care of her grandkids twice a week, Chris Cornwell wouldn't have it any other way. But these days, the line between nana and part-time nanny is often blurred.
My mother was always very helpful, but she had no weekly responsibility or picking up and delivering or anything like that when we had our children.
UniSA researchers say the number of working mums and dads turning to their parents for help is growing by the year.
Grandparents now are providing critical care.
On average, they're doing 2 to 3 hours a day.
But levels of recognition and support haven't kept up.
It's actually invisible often in the community too.
Experts say while the rising cost of living is partly responsible for our reliance on grandparents, the availability of quality childcare is also a factor. While most relish the time spent with their grandchildren, it can come at a personal cost. Seniors advocates want to see more government support services to help ease the growing burden.
One state government has put in a helpline, and they're also putting in some activities during school holidays, and I think that's the minimum that governments should do.
For those who go above and beyond.
Their family, and grandparents have a responsibility in the family, not just the caregiving or the picking up and the delivering, but actually helping shape the child.
Jasmine Turlings, 7 News.
Canada has been hit by one of the worst storms in the nation's history. Hurricane Fiona was downgraded to a tropical storm, but homes along the coast were still reduced to rubble and swept into the ocean. Torrential rain and winds of 110 kilometres an hour brought down power lines and uprooted trees. The destruction in Canada comes a week after Fiona battered Puerto Rico and other parts of the Caribbean.
And while weather has delayed NASA's return to the moon yet again, the space agency's most powerful ever rocket was due to depart on an unmanned mission this week, but with fears tropical storm Ian could hit Florida as a major hurricane, that's now been scrapped. The launch has already been postponed twice, first due to technical glitches and later a fuel leak.
A Melbourne man, he is the new proud owner of his very own Batmobile.
It's an officially licensed replica of the car made famous in the 1960s TV series and will soon serve a special purpose.
Holy smoke, Batman, feast your eyes on this. Hidden in a suburban Batcave, this is Melbourne's very own Batmobile.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Commissioner Gordon, yes, we'll be there straight away.
The Batphone works, so does the flame-throwing rocket exhaust, and true to the original, this 1966 model American-built replica has all the Caped Crusaders gadgets.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. Roger, ready to move out.
The detector scope, the emergency bat turn lever, the remote bat computer over there.
It cost $500,000 to build, with Bat fan Peter Robinson waiting 7 years for the finished car. It's one of only 13 Batmobiles licensed by Warner Brothers and the world's first right-hand drive.
It's everything that you want it to be, plus more.
In true superhero style, Peter will use his Batmobile to tackle a formidable enemy.
18 months ago, my little brother, who's 51, was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer.
The shock news prompting Peter to start his own Superheroes Foundation. He'll raise funds by renting out the Batmobile for public displays to help support brain cancer patients and their families.
I really take my hat off to him. He's a wonderful guy to think of something like that and to use his pride and joy for it as well.
A boyhood dream come true for Peter Robinson and a legacy for his brother Dean.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jackie Quist, 7 News.
Up next, a Melbourne council under fire over claims they have nothing to discuss. Also ahead, what's driving the rise of ADHD in adults.
Meghan Markle's shock claims about Australia.
Steam train history unfolds across the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
And after sport, a new warning on the pitfalls of using Botox.
The Greens-led Yarra Council is under fire for cancelling its upcoming meeting because there are, quote, no agenda items. Councillor Stephen Jolly says the decision is the first of its kind in 2 decades and is a blatant attack on democracy.
These are matters for Yarra City Council and their residents and ratepayers who I would expect that councils do their job.
The council says the agenda items have been moved to another day which the public will have access to.
More adults than children are now being diagnosed with ADHD as demand for medication soars. It's led to delays of more than a year to access treatment, but doctors worry the condition is still underdiagnosed.
ADHD has long been associated with children, but more adults are now reaching out for help, recognising symptoms they ignored for years.
You only see what you're looking for, so I think people are now looking for it.
Prescriptions for ADHD medications have more than doubled in the past decade, from around 514,000 to over 1 million. The biggest increase was seen in adults, outnumbering children by around 24,000 scripts. Raymond Clancy was diagnosed when he was 51 years old. He noticed the signs much earlier, but it was initially misdiagnosed, turning to alcohol to cope.
He put me on this Xanax, which is the worst thing for the ADHD brain, which almost killed me. My drinking increased and got into a lot more trouble at work.
Getting the right medication changed his life.
I just started crying because the voices stopped.
The new PBS figures are promising, but it's led to even longer wait times for a psychiatrist.
It took me over 8 months. It's not great.
And there are fears even more cases could be flying under the radar. ADHD in young girls is often missed because their symptoms look very different to boys. New guidelines on how to better treat and diagnose ADHD will be released next month. It couldn't come at a better time, with many mental health services at breaking point.
Some more research and more awareness about data will help us.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
There are explosive new claims tonight that Meghan Markle questioned why she wasn't getting paid for visiting Australia in 2018. The shock allegations are in a new book written by royal correspondent Valentine Lowe. The book explains, although she enjoyed the attention, Meghan failed to understand the point of all those walkabouts, shaking hands with countless strangers.
A steam train has thundered over the Sydney Harbour Bridge for the first time in almost 80 years. The journey was supposed to happen in March when the bridge turned 90, but weather washed out the tracks.
She's got a bright future ahead of her, and we're looking forward to taking her all around the state.
The 3801 locomotive retired in the 60s but was restored over 10 years.
Abby Gelmy is back with sport.
Now, Abby, there's more to the tale of a cat star and those cows.
There's so many Geelong players with cows, it's cryptic as to who that is. But Jeremy Cameron has revealed how his grand final preparation almost went haywire. That's next. Also hear from the skipper on his future as the Cats go hunting in the trade period. Exclusive details on the future of Sam Reid at the Swans after a rough day at the G. And the new kids on the block shine for the Socceroos. And what caused these drivers to come to blows? Welcome back. Geelong aren't putting any pressure on newly crowned Premiership captain Joel Selwood to make a call on his future. The Cats are in party mode as Jeremy Cameron revealed his rough night with the Cows actually began on grand final eve.
The cattery was purring. Mark Blitzarf still dressed in his footy gear as the party raged through the night.
About half an hour. I didn't get too much sleep, but it's all worth it.
When it all dies down, the skipper must decide if he plays on next year.
I think it's been pretty clear that I'm just going to enjoy the moment that we're in right now, and we'll worry about that later.
I'd like to, but I'm a bit selfish, so who knows what he'll do. But for now, it's just enjoy and be thankful for everything that he's provided us as a club.
While Selwood has 4 flags to his name, the wait is finally over for some of his teammates.
For Patrick Dangerfield, this moment has been a long time coming. The midfielder has done everything in the game and now he's a premiership player.
It's been a surreal 24 hours. It's been great.
From delisted Crow to 4-goal premiership hero, Tyson Stengel's road to redemption is complete.
I hope everyone that really doubted him can eat their words a bit now because, he proved everyone wrong.
His friendship with Cats assistant Eddie Betts vital to his success.
To share a moment with him and Anna and stuff after the game was pretty special. Shed a couple of tears.
Mark O'Connor's premiership glory came at the expense of the injured Max Holmes.
It was kind of bittersweet, obviously, because Maxie, it's tough on Maxie.
The Irishman got less than 24 hours notice, but wasn't the only Cat to have a less than ideal preparation. Jeremy Cameron with a late night to bed on Friday.
So my mate brought the Cows over from home, Dartmoor. I'm thinking I'm going to have to go and get him here, but I don't want to because I've got a grand final tomorrow and I don't really want to be pulling my mate out of the bog, but I had to.
The celebrations to last well into the week.
But I don't think the frivolities will stop just today, so it's going to be special.
Penny is the best!
Natalie Anides, 7 News.
Beck Madden with some of the best. The Cats are also set to be major players in the AFL trade period. Mitch Cleary has the latest, and Mitch, they're chasing 2 main targets.
Well, Abby, remarkably, the Premiers could add more young talent to the team that smashed the Swans. Magpies forward Ollie Henry was in the stands watching brother Jack yesterday. Next year, he could join him. Ollie's had a contract offer from Collingwood for months, but he's still weighing up interest from Geelong, his hometown team. He's set to meet his manager this week to make a call. The Cats are also targeting another local, Giants midfielder Tanner Bruin. It means 3 20-year-olds, Bruin, Henry and the unlucky Max Holmes, could be added to the flag side next year. At Sydney, Sam Reid's groin injury was the big selection gamble. The Swans admitting they got it wrong, but we can report he is committed to a new 1-year deal, which will take him off the list of free agents. The veteran subbed out yesterday at halftime.
No aspect of the game looked like the way we wanted to play, and we hardly got anything right. From the selection of Sam to the way the game looked. We're obviously confident, that's why we picked him, but we made a mistake.
Free agency opens on Friday. It's going to be a big week ahead. Abby?
Certainly will, Mitch. Thank you. The Socceroos will go to Qatar with a little spring in their step after beating New Zealand 2-0 in a friendly at Eden Park. 18-year-old prodigy Garang Kuol mounted his case for a World Cup selection with a run that led to a penalty for fellow debutant Jason Cummings.
For a goal on debut.
And Jason Cummings has given Australia a 2-0 lead here.
I've always had this, plan A, B and C in case. And those boys today gave me a great potential plan A, so it's great that they're knocking on the door.
Australia's first World Cup match is against France on November 23. Gay Waterhouse has a serious Cox Plate contender in Alligator Blood. Jockey Tim Clark rode the gelding to a tough all-the-way win in this afternoon's Group 1 Underwood Stakes at Sandown.
Alligator Blood, the Gator's going to do it today. Alligator Blood's won at 3/4 of a length.
Muang finished second and Zaki third. Novak Djokovic starred at the Laver Cup, thrashing Francis Tiafoe in straight sets before joining the chorus of tributes for Roger Federer.
His wife Mirka and closest people in his life allowed him to be able to play on such an incredible level for so many years, and I'm talking too much, but much love to Roger. Thank you.
Team Europe lead Team World 8-4 with 1 night to go. And things got heated in a NASCAR series race.
We got a major fight going on down here. And I mean, Timbers have flair kicking the race car. We got fists flying. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, the wild outburst was sparked by an accident on the track moments earlier. You get weeks in the AFL. I don't know what that means.
Wild
in
indeed.
You might got weeks for that hug of Paddy Dangerfield.
Yeah, I know. He was pretending not to know me too, which is embarrassing.
Thanks, Abby. There's a surge in the number of young women freezing their faces with Botox.
But medical experts warn the preventative treatments aren't without consequences.
Vanessa Grease has made a career out of chasing eternal youth.
I'm told that I look younger than I am.
15 years ago, aged 27, the cosmetic clinic owner started Botox injections.
So that we didn't look old when we were 40.
It's called preventative Botox, the treatment known as the domain of the middle-aged looking to stop the ageing clock is not unheard of among women as young as 18.
With the pandemic and the advent of Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, people are looking at themselves more, and definitely we're seeing a huge rise in people seeking treatments.
Most clients that I'd see where we start doing Botox is probably late 20s, early 30s.
If you're considering it though, be aware there are some risks.
Botox actually progressively weakens the muscle fibres over time.
Meaning you could end up with a sagging face. Preventative measures could be more helpful.
The vast majority of people with wrinkles are not because they have excessive facial expressions from muscle movement. It's because they are not protecting themselves from the sun.
A reminder not to take everything on face value. Jordan Bissell, 7 News.
Sonia Marinelli joins us now with the forecast for the week ahead, Son.
Well, Mike, Melbourne put on a spectacular show this weekend, but now we are heading into a soggy stretch. I'll have the details next.
They're the deals that shape careers and teams. Big names, big moves, big news. You'll get the inside word first on 7 News. Inside Trades with Tim Watson, 7 News.
Hello again, and today the weather served up just what we needed, some warmth and a good dose of sunshine. Outside now, cloud is building, but it's still 16 degrees outside as the next system closes in. So we're tracking a big spring change. Get ready, we're heading into a stretch of soggy days, up to 43 millimetres up for grabs in the city by Wednesday. So you've got to make the most of these days when we get them. Today our cold start turned warm and glorious. High, and we got up to 19 through the suburbs, from 3 to 19 for the party in Geelong. But as forecast, and at the moment we've got showers moving through the Mallee and the Wimmera as well. So here it is, the next system that expecting it to